Welcome to the Driven Agenda podcast, where raw journeys drive ambition and reveal the fuel behind people's success. I'm Shannon Sagan, a personal injury lawyer, entrepreneur, and founder of the Dashcam Lawyer. This podcast is all about being driven, focused, motivated, and determined to reach your goals and setting an agenda that pushes you forward. We bring you insights from top players in business, sports, real estate, investing, health, and more. Here, we dive into what it really takes to thrive with candid conversations that cut through the noise and get to the heart of people's success. We are live on the Driven Agenda podcast, and I've got another great guest, very close friend of mine, Angela Estevez Aguas, aka Angie. Angie's very near and dear to me because she is married to one of my closest and best friends in my entire life, Vinny. And they've got a very beautiful family, 3 kids. I'm the godfather to one of them, but I'm not a very active godfather, and I acknowledge it, but I absolutely adore her, and she's a sweetheart. So we got to go to Georgia. We both of our families are co-owners of the cabin, and we decided this year we wanted to do a week together, and we had such a blast. The kids never fought. I was so rare to see. I thought there was going to be some fights, especially with the boys, because the older ones, because they, they're the little.
But it makes you look forward to the next one.
Yes.
Because I just feel like if the dynamic is not there with the children as much as the parents get along,
yes,
like it's impossible to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Because then we went out on a date night, just the parents. Every night, one of us cooked dinner. Every morning, someone cooked breakfast. Anyway, we're a very close family. We don't see each other as much as we would like to, but we have a lot in common, a lot of values. We're very family oriented. And I have Angie on here because when I was in Georgia, I said to her, Angie, I've got this podcast and that I started in January, and it's about entrepreneurs and people who take risks starting businesses. And you're on the list. And I'm sure she really wasn't even paying attention to me saying that.
I don't think I was.
You weren't. I know you weren't. You're like, yeah, whatever. So I finally called her out a little while ago and said, guess what? You're on deck. Let's go. So she's here. Thank you for driving up here in the shitty South Florida weather, South Florida traffic. The weather's shitty
Also
too,
shitty.
but thank you for coming up here and taking time out. What inspires me about Angie and what I think you all will enjoy is she did not want to go the 9-to-5 route. And she wanted to be more present for her family, and particularly her kids, and be there and not kind of be a 9-to-5 type of mother. And there's arguments on both sides that people could make, women could make, of why 9-to-5 is better and why stay-at-home mom is better. But that's the route Angie chose, and she's dominating it. So I want this episode really is about entrepreneurship and mindset and taking risks. But this one's probably geared more towards people like yourself, moms who maybe have a job and they want to figure out how to stay at home, or they want to be more present with their kids, or they want to figure out how to start a business from home like yourself, because they're tired of, again, going into a boss and doing that type of job. So really quick, can you just briefly tell everybody what it is that you do and what are the services you offer? And then we'll get kind of into a little more detail.
Absolutely. So what I do is that I do network marketing. I'm in direct sales, and I am in the beauty space. But for me, if you really want to dig more deep into that, I help women find financial stability. And gain independence. My purpose is to help women not depend on a man, as horrible as that sounds, and not to make my husband look bad in any sense, but life can end tomorrow for him. Anything can happen. And I feel
I'm divorced, so things could happen. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just feel like women, and especially now I see it so much on social media, like they feel like they need to depend on a man to, be successful, to have all the things. And for me, I'm not happy with that. So for me, I teach women on, finding purpose outside of motherhood, but also, spending time with their family and earning an income without sacrificing time away from them, if that makes any sense.
Yep. Um, Prior to making that decision, what was your life like? What was your thoughts of how things were going to go career wise?
It's funny you mentioned that because earlier you said, oh, she decided to go the route of not going a 9 to 5. But in my head all along, all I wanted was a 9 to 5, right? So prior to children, I dropped out of college. I dropped out of what was going to be my dream job on paper just to raise a family. So as I started getting deep into motherhood, I realized that I let go of everything and I stopped caring for me. So before going into this career path, I was thinking like I had a very limited mindset. And I feel like people before entrepreneurship, before thinking, how can I get out of the 9 to 5, like they don't have that thought process because they're not
They don't know.
exposed. They
Yep.
don't know. And that's why I also didn't know anything about not having a 9 to 5. So, I mean, what was the question again? Repeat it. I always
Ba-
go off.
no, basically, and then I just lost my train of thought. What was kind of your life like
Oh, life
before?
like before.
What is it that you thought you were going to do before you ended up going down this road?
I thought I was going to be in human resource.
Human resources.
Yeah.
So you said you were in college?
Yeah, I was in college and then I got pregnant. And I remember Vincent telling me, hey, like my paycheck was the bare minimum because I was in the process of getting certified and all the things. And he's like, if you're, the amount of money that you're going to be making working a 9 to 5 is the same amount of money that you're going to be spending taking him to daycare. Why not take care of him at home? Why not be a stay-at-home mom? And I was like, for me, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mom? But for me, like from looking from the outside perspective, everyone's like, oh my God, being a stay-at-home mom is so exciting. It's the best life. Who doesn't? Like, I don't know. It's exciting. It's fun. I love being there for the first steps. I love being, but you start losing yourself. You start being goo goo gaga all day long. I remember watching the news just so I can feel important in the world.
See what's going on. Yeah. Because you're kind of in that bubble.
You're in that bubble. You don't speak to anybody all day long.
Right.
Right. So in my life before that, I felt like I was a single mom just using my husband's bank account. And people would laugh and I'm like, but that's the reality. My husband's out at 5 a.m. He's back at 10 p.m.
Yep.
This is not the life I signed up for. While he's providing and working his butt off and having all these stresses of finances, taking care of the family. And looking back now, I realize how much stress he had. And I did enjoy being a mom, and I do love using his money. Who doesn't love using somebody else's money? But again, I started losing myself. What started as like, oh my God, being excited ended up being like, kind of like, people talk about the rat race. There's a rat race in motherhood as well. It's wake up, feed, do this. It's taking care of everyone before taking care of yourself. It's not having time to yourself, losing sight of who you were prior to children.
Right.
So before this, I just felt like I was just hanging by a thread. I was in postpartum depression. I was a very young mom. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I didn't have an out. I was always in financial arguments, which I absolutely hated. As somebody who used to work 2 full-time jobs, I went to school full-time prior to children. Having to let go of all of that just to be dependent on one person, really, it didn't sit right with me.
Luckily, Vinny's the type of guy that, he takes on that role. And I'm pretty sure he didn't throw that kind of stuff in your face. And he just knows that that's the role, is take on the family. And a lot of husbands probably wouldn't make that offer to stay home. They probably would still say, you got to get a job and we'll just, we'll do the daycare thing. So for him to offer that opportunity, that is a big deal.
And
it's a game changer. Not just his doing, but the results of all that are a game changer. So what was the actual, is there an actual time, or what was the actual episode that happened where you just said, this is what I'm going to do business wise? How did you get into that?
So actually I said no to this business for 4 whole months. I was like, this is not it. I'm not the social savvy person. I always thought like the same, thoughts that go through everybody's mind. When you don't know anything, you
don't
just
know what
think,
you don't know.
Exactly. And then you go towards the negative side. You think about all the objections you can possibly think about. Because the thing with the human body, I just feel like we don't like being uncomfortable. right?
Hmm.
We get so comfortable, you know, being comfortable that it's just, but it's not normal for us. We have to get uncomfortable, right? So I remember sitting one day, um, when I forget, like I went to Target and he was like, kind of like, can I curse?
Sure.
Okay. I remember him bitching at me over spending a certain amount of money, but it was honestly money for the kids. It
Hmm.
wasn't, I wore the same sneakers for an entire year and I was tired of it, right? I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I felt like I was in this uniform of the same clothes rotating over and over again. But those were the sacrifices we had to
Right.
make, right? And I remember I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to college. And I decided I'm going to start studying again. So I can find a good job and do all the things. And this was when I was pregnant with Amalia. So we're talking about 6 years deep into
Yeah.
motherhood. And I was like, okay. And that was my thought process. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having my third and final child. This whole stay at home mom bubble, it's going to come to an end.
Yep.
And it
Time's
hit
flying.
me, yeah. And I was like, I'm not gonna be a stay-at-home mom anymore. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna be 30-something years old in an entry-level position. I'm gonna be 30-something years old without a career. Like, what am I going to do? Because I can only stay at home for so long. Kids are gonna be off to school, and unless you're like the super rich person, like you're not gonna be
Yeah,
able to
there's a
stay
point
home.
where they have to go to school.
There's a point.
So there's that whole 5, 6, 7 hour window where they're at school, and it's like, what are you
Yeah,
going to be doing during that time?
exactly. And I knew I was gonna have to go back to
Right.
work because we just didn't have the means. So I remember signing up for college that day to go back into like online classes. Man, these kids decided to throw a tantrum. They were crying all over the place. I was so embarrassed because remember, I was only like 23, 24 or whatever. Not I was about 25 at that stage. And I was like, and then I started taking on the online classes and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot of work. It's not just having the kids, it's a lot of work like behind the computer. I can't even imagine once I start going into work. I started looking for options of working from home. So I was like, if I can just make an extra $200 a
Hmm.
month so I can have my little personal cushion. I just wanted something so I didn't have to ask or have that financial argument that we kept
Right.
having. It was like a cycle at this point. Um, Looking back now, I understand, why he was so reserved and stuff. And I remember looking for stay at home, work from home stuff. And a lot of them required you had to have a certain amount of hours. A lot of
Hmm.
them, they're like, oh, you have to be quiet in the background. I was like, I can't
Not happening
control
in your
if my
house.
kid can, nap 20 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
So then whatever. I was crying on my couch and it just so happens like, and this is why I always tell people in my business, I'm like, no, it just means not right now. People are, they have to go through experiences. They have to go through different hardships to realize like enough is enough. You have to be sick and tired to decide you want different. So
It has
I
to be a
decided to
strong
try it.
enough why or
Exactly.
event that happens for you to really dig deep and make changes.
Exactly. And that's what happened to me. I was crying on my couch. It just so happened the girl reached out again and I was like, let me give this a try. Let me
Hmm.
see what happens. And I actually took money from the kids' piggy banks. I was afraid to ask Vince for money. I
That's
took
crazy.
money. Yeah. And I hid it from Vince for
Uh-huh.
3 months. About that.
Wow.
I hid the business he didn't have social media. So for me, it was easy
Yeah,
to hide
yeah,
it from him.
yeah. He's so lucky. He's in a business where he doesn't need social media, whereas people like yourself and we need it.
It's a lot.
Um, so that's what I was going to ask. Financially, what did you need to get the business going? Um, if any, I guess you needed something. And then what were the doubters or haters saying to you? I'm sure Vinny probably had some reservations at first, or maybe he didn't. But what were people saying about your idea when you presented it to them?
Um, well, it was a $300 investment. I had to go through his pockets. I remember finding a check and it was actually made out to Amalia. No, was it Amalia? No, Amalia wasn't born. It was Catalina's baptism. That check saved me because I was able to get to
Wow.
get more money. I've never actually said this to anybody, but I took that check and I was like, oh my God, I guess it was from her baptism. Like I went through his pockets. I was like, yes. And that's how I was able to start. And I remember starting and I remember feeling so stupid. But you know what's so crazy? Because I was thinking about this on my way home today. I mean, over here today. And I was like, I didn't care. So when you would tell me, like, what were people saying? What were they like? I didn't care. My why was so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a why, you have a purpose.
Right.
I had such a huge purpose and I had such a huge hunger. Like I just didn't care. I had tunnel vision.
So did Vinny ask you at all about it, or did you just say, "Hey, I'm going to do something," just so you're
He
aware, and then you kind of just
did.
blew it
He
off?
was kind of against it.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, is this really going to work? Like, what are you
Well, it's
doing?
non-traditional. It's not 9 to 5, which is what he and I kind of do.
Exactly. And he wasn't like, oh, you can't do it, but he wasn't supportive. And what do I mean by support? As in, I still had to take on the full role as a stay-at-home mom,
Hmm.
right? As in, I would be doing evening calls. I remember Amalia was just born, so the newborn stage is very hard. And I remember being in the middle of a team call, a Zoom call. Zoom wasn't even big back then. And I remember being in the middle of a team call. Vince was watching the news on a couch, and I was in the room, which was our office in the corner, and the kids were all over the Zoom. And he can hear me struggling, trying to have a conversation with like my team, trying to lead on. At the
Right.
moment, I was still learning leadership, and I'll never forget Vinci in my first. He said, "Pipi caca, pipi caca." People still hold it on to me. And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, like, if you see me struggling, you see me trying to build something, it's not hard to just take the kids
Right.
out, to take them with you. And, so did he say, hey, you can't do that? Or no, but he didn't show support in a way where I feel like I needed.
Do you think Vinny's the biggest contrarian that I know? So if you say something, he always has something devil's advocate, and it's when I was younger, it used to be really fucking annoying for me. But now, as I get older, he still does it. But do you
Try
think
living
deep?
with him.
Yeah. Do you think deep down that it was also more of let's see if she can do this on her own, like testing
That's a
you?
good question. And you know
Because
what?
I can see it from that point of view,
I
whereas you
never
took
saw
it
it from that point
you
of
took it
view.
maybe, sometimes Jessica's like, get off the couch, and I need you to help me. But with Vinny, I could sometimes see she wants to do this, she's got to earn it.
Oh my God. 7 years in, and I've never thought about it that
That's
way.
just because that's how I picture him. Is he tests people and makes them prove themselves, and that's why he and I have become friends, because we've both proven ourselves and been there for each other. So, um, who knows? You'll have to ask him. That's
No,
it.
no, and you know what? And if that was the case, I am so great. It makes me want to cry because it was hard. It
Yeah.
was hard. Like when I tell you, like I said, doing calls with a breastfeeding at the
Right.
same time, managing two toddlers at this, it was hard. It was very hard, but now I'm like, if I can do it, so can you.
So it's funny because you talked about the check, and one of my last questions was going to be, "What's a secret no one knows?" And
No.
that's what's a
Oh, the
secret no one
secret
knows
no.
about you, and the check thing. That's
I mean, there's
crazy.
90 secrets. There's a whole
Well, maybe we'll get back to that.
chest.
So you start the company. The main thing is Monet, but you're also got involved in leadership, right? And mentoring and stuff. We're going to get into that. But the goal was to establish something from home that is provides some financial freedom for you, allows you to stay home and be with your kids and family as often as you want. So were you able to eventually have a point where you were able to be present for everybody and handle all those things?
I'm always present. That's the thing, and like maybe it's your thing trying to figure out like if there was balance. Maybe is that your question?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as balance.
So
It,
you have to do a lot of social media for your job,
mm-hmm.
right? Um, when you come home or when you're home, is there times where you have boundaries where I'm not going to do social media or work, or I can't do something with the kids, I've got to do work, or is it all always overlapping for you?
Depends on the day. I can honestly say the first, you see, it's because again, it's different seasons in business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I guess, and like that's why I say people are like, how do you balance work and life balance? Like, there's no such thing as balance, but there is such thing as seasons.
What do you mean
You
by that?
have different seasons in business where some seasons they are going to overlap each other,
Mm-hmm.
and some seasons you are fully committed to your family and your business is on the back burner. There's some seasons where your business is a full front, and you have a conversation with your family where, hey, these are my priorities, this is what I'm focused on, and I need this is where the spouse would come in and be like, hey, I need your help in this sense.
Right.
And you know, there's different roles to it at different times of the day. So again, it's no such thing as bad. It's just different seasons on what to focus when. Does having a schedule help? Absolutely. There is a strict schedule. I thrive on schedule. I believe running a business with children is very important to have a strict schedule, military style, especially when it comes to bedtime, you know. But again, it depends on which season of life you're in. If you're asking me this question back when I was a toddler mom, I would say they would overlap all the time. And I
Yeah.
would just take the children with me. I remember running in my own house at one point when it was like nap time. I would remember I would drive for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes every day, the same road, back and forth in circles so I can get them to nap and then I can work my business, do the dishes and everything. So again, it just depends what season of life and in business you're in.
Okay. Have you noticed a change in your relationship with Vinny and the kids now that you've become successful and had your own business?
1,000%.
How so?
My communication with Vince is day and night. We communicate so much better. I can see he's happier. I can see he's more rested. You know, I reduced his work hours. So
Yeah,
he's
you took the
home.
financial burden off of him,
Yeah.
which he's never complained to me. I mean,
Hmm.
finances are a big deal in all marriages, right? But
I think it's the forefront of a lot of divorces.
yeah,
And it's
it is.
honestly another thing. Want to know a secret?
Sure, sure. I'm all about secrets today. That's for some reason I
Um,
wanted to ask you what was something no one knows. You're, I think, the only person I was asking this. So you're telling a bunch. Let's
um,
go.
I started because my initial thought process is if I can get financially independent, I can leave him
Right.
because I felt like my hands were tied.
Yeah.
And that's one of the real reasons I started.
So you just got to a point where you just felt like you had to rely on him for everything. And
Hmm.
then the financial part, which you're right, is the biggest, one of the biggest fights people have in breakup marriages is the finances. So I would imagine if you've got someone who's 100% bringing in the money, and of course you're taking care of the kids in the house, but the money is really what controls everything and allows you to do that. So wow, I appreciate you opening up.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not the case for you guys now
Oh,
because
no.
you guys are absolutely amazing couple, and I never see you guys argue.
Well, no, we argue all the
Well,
time,
I
but
mean, like argue. Like we're all bitching at each other for different stuff, right? You saw it with Jess and I in Georgia, and we do it, but like not to the level of I'm out of here type thing, and that's
Mhm,
awesome. So um, it saved your marriage as well, it
it
sounds like.
did. It saved our communication. I think we both realized that we're a team
Hmm.
and we both have our roles. And we both have the same goals. And I think
What are some of the goals?
the goals are to retire early, to get him out of the 9 to 5 now. Um,
He does work a lot. I can never get a hold of him
he's
during the
addicted.
day. And every time we have a phone call, he's got to go.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. But
It's an addiction. But you
he,
know what I really like? I think him, and he says it all the time, I'm jealous of your time flexibility that you have. And I think me doing this and showing him what's possible
mhm.
too kind of like has helped him open up his, you know, mind into stepping into
So let's
different
go back
things.
to that because you mentioned that in the beginning. And I was always a 9 to 5 employee for a long time. I worked for Mr. Varner and I got paid a very good salary. I got good bonuses. I was expected to just come in 9 to 5. He didn't require me to network, market, or even bring in clients. And I was very comfortable. I never saw myself one day owning a business or becoming an entrepreneur. And then it was the day that he said, I'm leaving in 60 days. You either buy me out or work for another law firm. And my entire mindset switched to, oh my gosh, living this comfortable life that I thought I was going to continue doing, which looking back is boring as shit now. Like, if he didn't give me that opportunity, I don't know what I would be doing. I probably would not be happy. But my point is, when you finally get into that entrepreneurial mindset, it opens up so many more avenues. And probably with Vinny, like with me, he's stuck in that 9 to 5 mindset and not thinking, what other things can I do? I mean, he's super smart, multiple languages, all you guys. And he's everyone likes him, and he's very savvy. He's always been a sales guy. He's made shit ton of money as a bartender, like some of the top clubs in the world, in the country. So he's got the charisma, but sometimes when you're in a certain world, you can't see what else is out there. And I started my kickboxing company and sold it. And I've found now that I'm not really much doing a whole lot of law. I'm doing more business development and growth. I loved my kickboxing company and starting it. And I like running businesses and being entrepreneurial more than anything. So I think that people like him and Jess, because I talk to her all the time, is there something you can think of that you would allow you to work from home? And I'll give you a year to do that.
Hmm.
But she's
Set in her
she's
ways.
set in her way, but I don't, it's not a bad thing, but I think it's because she doesn't know what she doesn't know.
That, and I think people fall in love with certainty.
Stability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stability, certainty. It's being certain of, it happens to me in business a lot, with, growing my team and all these things. People are like, oh, like, but how much can I earn? I'm like, you earn as much as you hustle.
Yeah.
Your grit, your character, everything is gonna be formed, during the mundane times, the boring, the hardships.
Mm-hmm.
And then from once you pass all that, then you're gonna start seeing the good, high income.
Right.
But you are gonna have to go through the slow side, the hardship side, the side where it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for my next meal. And it happens, especially I think from Vince's side, it's more so, my business boomed in 2020.
Yep.
I made substantially
I know.
a lot
He
of
would call me
money.
up and he's like, I am just like, there was a time where he's like, if I didn't want to, I probably don't have to work. And I'm like, holy shit. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would call me and tell me how proud of you he
Thank you.
was. It was wild.
So it can, that's the thing with my business. But now that I have like the mindset about it, I am much smarter with my money now. And I am now, and they say get really good at something and then invest into other things.
Mhm.
So my plan is our plan, now with the cabin, and it's so that we can expand into other things, have that residual income continuing
Mhm.
aside from what I already do. But back to it is just, in pandemic it boomed, and then but people, it's up and down, it's up and down. And then for me it can happen. I had two huge leaders in my business. They left. And what did that do? It gave me $1 million pay cut in sales. I had million from one month to the next, $1 million less.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big cut.
Yeah.
You can only imagine. So that's the thing with sales. It's up and down. Whereas opposed to Vince, he's like, listen, I have a family to care for. He takes his role as a provider
Yeah.
very seriously. And I'm so grateful for him for that. So I think for him, it's just more so, yes, this helps. I don't have to be doing the extra sale. I don't have to be, because he's in sales
Staying a
as well.
couple extra hours
Exactly.
or weekends type. It takes the edge off.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny because we're talking about that, and every now and then I work from home more than I'm at the office now, and Jess will be like, "Oh my gosh, it must be nice," and I'm like, "It is."
It
The
is
time,
nice, but
the
it's
time
also
freedom.
work.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because we're at the house doesn't mean we're not working, but the time freedom is a huge thing.
It's the ultimate. I think
it's
it's the
more
ultimate
than
success.
it's more than money.
It's more than, and I try and tell people that. I'm like, people think that being successful is having, I don't know, the Rolls Royce, having the nice watch.
Gosh,
I'm like,
you're hitting up
listen,
on
I've been
everything.
there. It is not it. I have had the nice trips, the nice cars. I've had it. I had that opportunity. And I'm so glad I didn't do a lot of the things that my friends were doing back then. They were flying private and everything. And I was like, I'm not going to do that because I'm not falling. I'm glad I was always grounded when it came to that. Did I get nice things? Rolex? Did I get a little LV here and there? Yeah, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh. I invested it into our new home instead. I did other things. But again, back to it's just success is not the money. Success for me is being able to go to mass with my kids every single Thursday at school. Tomorrow I have a meeting at school. I am overly involved in school. I love being able to pick up and go. Let me tell you, being an after school mom is it's work. It's a whole other job. And it's, so
especially
because
you're dealing with other moms too.
Not having, like, the other day, some mom was like, oh my gosh, like I have to find someone to care for my kid so that I can go to work because I can't call off anymore. I can't relate, and I am so happy I can't relate. And for me, the ultimate success is just being present
Right.
there.
Being able to just pretty much drop what you're doing and be available for anybody and working on your time. Yeah, it's a big deal, and a lot of people will never experience that. But what you hit on success, it was one of the questions I was going to ask you is, especially in days of social media, and I'm sure you get a lot of people that think you just, right away just became rich or whatever, and that it's easy, and it's not.
Mm-mm.
Success, in the beginning, most people, success is probably about money and material things. But goddamn, when you get married and have kids and families and friends and traveling, and there's so many other things in life that define success, and definitely freedom of time. Having the time that you want to do things when you want is such a good
Yeah.
thing. You and I are trapped because you and I can take vacations whenever we want, but
But they
they
can't. I
can't. They
hate
got, I
it.
know.
I'm always like, can we do this? Can we go?
I know.
I can't. You're the worst.
That's there's times like our Fort Myers trip that we do every year. Jess couldn't go the whole time because she was running out of days.
Isn't
But
that, do they not realize? Like,
again, like you can't teach someone something that
they don't know.
they don't know, right? So we have very smart, supportive spouses with very steady jobs that if you or I went out of business, they could take over.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't realize this time freedom. And like I said, I've taken 4 weeks off this year already just in vacations.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it with Jess, but she's pretty tapped out with it. And that's one of the frustrating things is I've got to revolve our vacation around her, what time she had, whatever they call it, vacation time that she
Mm-hmm.
has. And yeah, I know you do with Vinny too. He tells me that.
Very limited.
Yeah. Let's talk about social media because I think you're self-taught you've got tens and tens of thousands of followers.
Oh my God, they're dropping by the day though. Social media is a whole other world today.
Well, people are not true loyal people, but your followers, it's very impressive, especially what you've grown it to in a short time. How did you even do that? And what's your best platform? Is it Instagram?
Instagram.
That's what I thought. That's what I see come through my feed is for your stuff. I did see occasionally Facebook, but for some reason your Instagram comes through. And you got lots of followers. I assume that was just from hitting it every single day, learning the tips to get people to follow you. Because I've been in social media way longer than you have with my accounts, and I only have a couple thousand followers. So I mean, my shit's boring, but how do you grow
Oh,
that?
that's funny. So it's so funny because I'm actually going through a pivot right now, and my social media has actually been stagnant for the past 2 years, I would say.
Talking about followers?
Yeah, it's been stagnant. The engagement sucks, and I think it's just across the platform. And I was, for a long time, up until actually recently, I was in this victim mode, or blaming it on the algorithm. I'm shadow banned. I'm not getting followers. Like this is it. It was never Instagram. It was me. And I think what helped me really grow and go through in the beginning, and that's what I want to go back into. I'm also in the what you call the messy middle. So I grew my Instagram around children, right? So my entire community is all based on motherhood, moms with toddlers, and all the things. And I remember thinking when I started, again, I had that tunnel vision. I didn't care. I just cared about getting information out there. I just cared about sharing what worked for me. And if there's one thing that everyone always tells me and that I take a lot of pride in is being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I am very authentic.
Saying and doing.
Doing everything, not caring, no matter
Right.
what, not having a filter. I remember growing up, I would get made fun of. I'd be called annoying Angie, like, girl, you have no filter. But now that's my superpower.
Right.
Not having a filter is my superpower. It's what has gotten me to where I am today. So how did I grow it? It was by being authentic, by not caring what other people think, not going into the whole, well, you have to be aesthetically pleasing and doing all that. But what happened is that eventually I did fall into that. And I started overthinking and I started.
Do you go in that trap? Because I do it of worrying about followers and how to increase them and shit like that. And then it takes away
The fun.
Yeah, like what really even got you going and what started getting you followers? Is that kind of what
Yeah,
you
that's
found?
exactly what I found. And sometimes I'll be like, my engagement will be like 2,000 viewers a story, and then it'll go down to like 500. That affects me because I'm like, what am I doing that's not
Yeah.
entertaining? And so that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm rebranding, I'm pivoting, and I'm gonna become an authority in what I know. And I feel like when you post about something that you're passionate in, and when you have authority in that space, right? So in your space, what is your authority? Like what you want to become the authority of that
Yep.
if you want to grow it as a business
I've noticed
standpoint.
a massive change when I switched from having my law firm to my firm name to having the dash cam niche. I noticed my competitors were congratulating me and liked it, and I've just became 10 times more passionate about law and my business. And so people said that they're seeing that in my videos over the last couple years, but it did give me a sense of purpose to now try to differentiate myself from the thousands of lawyers that we all see every day saying the same shit. So you're right. You got
Exactly.
to have a purpose and some type of kind of niche. And I did the same thing. You fall for like worrying about followers and shit. And
Mm-hmm.
you get into doing that. And when you're doing that, you turn sometimes not fake, but you want to do what
Everybody
Instagram
else is
tells you
doing
to do. Yeah.
exactly, and it's not gonna get you anywhere. I started worrying about having the aesthetic home, the pretty things, and I'm like, I did it when we lived in a shithole.
Yeah.
We didn't live in a shithole ever, but compared to what we have
Of
now,
course.
I did it with the ugliest floors on earth from like 1980s,
Right.
and I didn't care, and I showed up. Why do I care about showing up the way like I'm just trying to show people where I am instead of showing them the journey of how I got here and all
Mm-hmm.
these things. And I feel like when you take people on the journey with you and you take them on the day to day, that's what people want to see. Like, and I feel like people on Instagram, they're tired of seeing the perfect curated life. They're tired of, because it's so fake. I see so many people out there. I'm like, I want to see the struggle. I want to see the
Yep.
crying. I used to cry on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
And that would get me the most views.
I was going to say, is there a particular topic that you found that gets you higher views? For me, anyone that's with anything with my family, my kids, or my dog seem to get higher views that have nothing related to law. And it's frustrating in a way, but then I'm like, it's telling me what my fan base likes.
It's because it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also giving them an insight into your behind the scenes. They want
Right.
to know if I'm going to, support you, if I want you as my lawyer, what do you like? What is your life outside of the home office? We're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what people, why, for example, in my perspective in business, it's like, why do I want to join you? Who are you to help me or to get me from point A to point B?
Right.
And that's what people want to see. That's why I say you have to have authority in that space and speak your mind. And your vibe attracts your tribe,
Mm-hmm.
right? What you put out is what you're gonna get in.
Okay. So, sticking with marketing, network marketing. So let's get away from social media and all that. I have to do a lot of that. That's where I get most of my business is still old school face to face, lunches, dinners, breakfast, the podcast, networking events, putting on events, all that stuff. Do you do any of that stuff as well to get business? And does it work?
A lot of the girls do it. I believe it or not, I am an introvert extrovert.
Yeah, we
I
talked about that, it being an introverted extrovert.
In person, my voice will start shaking. I am
Right.
very bad with confrontation, whether it's good or bad. Um, our business, so many girls, it just depends on what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people you have to focus on what you're good at. And if you're really good at, let's say, getting people to come onto the team with you, focus on that. The
Right.
clients will come, right? If you're really good at doing clients, focus on the clients. I just feel like people want to be good at everything,
You can't.
but you can't.
Nope.
Focus on that one good thing. So when you ask me, oh, like people still do that. There's events all the time. People go to networking events and they thrive off of
Right.
that. I'm very
So
shy.
it's just personality based in your
Yeah.
business, and social media is kind of where you're at and your specialty.
I love social media. I love that you can have access to people across the world.
Yep.
I had the number one team
Especially
in
because you're in
Spain.
sales.
I have people in Australia and all these things, and I would have never had access to them if it wasn't for social media. And
Right.
that's why I love it so much.
I think it depends on the type of business as well. So I'm looking for injury cases just in really Palm Beach County, if not South Florida. So there's we focus on trying to get followers just from this area versus now I'm selling my dash cam on Amazon. Now I want the world to see that. So we're going down that road too to try to figure out how to do double marketing without mixing the two. Um, so social media is it for you. Let's talk about mentorship. I know when I read about you online, you spend a lot of time mentoring, I don't know if it's younger women, but mentoring women.
Hmm.
Tell me about that. And why do you do it?
Oh my God. So at first I didn't know why. And I remember calling my mentor not too long ago. Uh, she's the one, mentor is basically the one who got you into the business. But I like to say I'm a mentor. I always say network marketing is personal development attached with a compensation plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love mentoring women, and the thing about my business is you're dealing with so many different personality, whether they're on, their menstrual cycle, whether they're going through the postpartum
Pregnant. Yeah.
depression.
Hate their
It is
husband.
so hard to understand the different types of personalities
So you're
that
like a
you're,
psychologist too.
yeah. But along the lines of entrepreneurship, mentorship, I've learned to set boundaries as well. So I do mentor people. I meet them where they are. It just depends on what they're looking for, but I mentor mostly moms. So again, this is my niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what niche, whatever is what you put out. So that's what I attract. So most of my business, everyone in my business is women, moms who are trying to leave the 9 to 5, moms who are at home and want some financial stability, things like that. That's what most of my team is. But when I mentor them, I just kind of speak life into them, and I show them the potential that they have without them even realizing what
Right.
they're capable
You
of.
pull things out that you see in them that they don't see in themselves.
Exactly. And honestly, if you ask me what my favorite part about business is, it's that
That
I love nothing more
than helping.
than not just helping them, it's just seeing them win. When you
Mm-hmm.
have somebody call you and be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I did this. I'm like, yes, you got, like, it's so fulfilling because again, I was once there, and that's my sole
Right.
purpose. I've already made it. I got the income, I got everything. Now I'm like, what now?
Yep.
Now is helping them.
Helping them. So you were mentored as well. What are some of the things that do you still have a mentor or a coach
Yeah.
to this day?
I wouldn't say coach. She's now become like my business partner.
Okay.
We have this thing where we say, now this is where I take off my friendship hat and I put on my business partner hat.
Yep.
Because I feel like a lot of people, they confuse the two.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like, oh, because I'm on your team, you're my best friend, or no, I'm not here. Like, listen, you're amazing. You have this potential, but I'm not your friend.
Yeah, you got to
I'm not your friend.
separate it at that time. Same with Vinny and I with the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where we have not disagreements, but very few, but times that we have different opinions on how we want to move forward with the cabin. And we each know this is a business.
Exactly.
And our friendship will always be there, but you're right. That's important. You got to separate that. So mentoring, having a mentor, someone helping you is a big deal to you, I assume.
She's there, and she tells me what I don't want to hear,
Right.
which actually causes us to butt heads a lot. But I am forever grateful because sometimes you need that person to tell you the things that you don't want to hear,
Because
but
you're in your own bubble
need to hear.
sometimes.
You're in your own bubble, and they tell you, like, listen, like, get it together, and
Yeah.
they'll kind of guide you and do things. But I've been in this business long enough to know that it's up to me, it's up to my discipline. And I got to do what I have to do to get
Right.
me forward.
Coaching is a huge thing. I looked at the money aspect of it, and then finally I was fighting the money aspect of it, and finally in 2018, I started doing coaching specifically geared towards lawyers and law firms. And ever since then, I haven't had to worry about the cost of it because it's increased my business triple and personally. So I'm a huge fan of anyone, even if you don't own a business, doing some type of coaching or mentoring or self improvement books, things like that. I think a lot of people are lacking that. And there's always someone that can help you or teach you something that you don't know. You just need to be open-minded to it. So I wasn't sure if you still had a mentor, and you do. And that's the
And
theme I
do.
see with all these entrepreneurs is they all have coaches. They might be smart, but they know there's always someone smarter than them.
Yeah.
And you got to be humble enough to know that.
But I also think that there's a lot of people who, if I'm going to find a coach, for example, mine is amazing. She's made $7 million in just 6 years. She's insane. She's insane. She means business. And when I tell people, I'm like, if you're looking for a mentor, and don't just go with a family friend. Don't just go someone because they have this perfect life on social media. Like,
Right.
go with someone, because I just see so many people, like you said, like being a coach and doing this, but do they actually know what they're doing? Have they actually gone
Everyone's a
through the
life coach.
hardships?
Everyone's an
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
they're
Everyone's a
not.
digital
They're
influencer.
shit.
Yeah, I know.
It's so much bogus out there. So for me, I'm like, so define a mentor, define a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've
it's
got to
very
do
hard to
some
find
good
some
digging.
good digging.
Someone that really has your best interests. My coach this past month, she realized I have so many projects to do that she's like, we're not going to meet for a month. There's no need in me charging you. There's no need for me to have wasteful meetings. And that's good of her to see that. Like, she could convince me to pay her for a month and do these meetings. But there's times, you need someone like that that truly has your best interests. And it sounds like yours does. And you have, as a mentor as well, you have your people's best interests, and you get that good feeling of helping someone and seeing them win. Somebody, stay-at-home mom, wants to start a business like yours. What do they need to know? Goods and bads.
They need to know that they're gonna have to sacrifice a lot, and sacrifice, late
Give me
nights.
some examples. Yeah.
Late nights, your house being messy, very embarrassing, and they're gonna have to sacrifice, missing certain things and being okay with it, right? But it's just the long term. What is it? The short term sacrifice for the long term rewards. Of course. They're gonna have to be okay with failure. I just feel like people, again, we're in a world where people feel like it has to be perfect all the time, and no, they're gonna have to realize that they have to start messy. They have to realize that they don't have to know everything to get started, that nobody starts with confidence.
The key is completing it.
Amen.
If you fail, great, you learn that lesson and move on, but the key is finishing what you start.
Exactly, and taking small actionable steps is what's going to create the confidence that you need to get you to where you want to go. So if they want to start, they just have to be willing to feel stupid. They have to be willing to fail. They have to be willing to accept the opinions of others, and just realize that, it's not going to happen in 30, 60, 90 days. It's going to happen probably in
such a common theme that I hear from every single person that sits in this chair. You can't stress enough the sacrifice and the suffering that you have to do if you want to go get in this world that we're in. And that's why 90% of people don't have their own businesses. And that's why 90% of businesses fail when they start off. We talked a little bit about this, but so you're killing it. You said COVID kicks in and then things just really skyrocket. Financially, what were some of the things that took you to the next level that you were able to do and help the household out?
Well, I reduced
Was it like private school and stuff like that?
Private school is one. I reduced Vince's work hours. Vince is home for dinner. You have no idea what a blessing that is.
That's awesome.
And I hate cooking, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
Having a nanny. We had a nanny for a long time, and it was the best thing ever. Cleaning lady, small things, like
they say, money doesn't make you happy.
It buys you
but
options.
It buys you things that can help make you happy or buy you time and stuff. So I remember, like I said, when he was calling and bragging about you over
Good to know.
Things started really taking off, like all those things were happening, and he was just shocked. And yeah, like the extra time you get to spend with him and the nanny and the private school versus public. So money's important as well, but like we said, family, health, time, all that is way more important.
Way more valuable.
But everyone focuses on the money first. Do you have a daily routine, a morning routine that you do that gets your day going, that gets you pumped up? I do my cold plunge and read and journal and plan my day and vision board and all that shit every morning. Do you have something similar?
I'm laughing
Why?
Because I don't. I am actually I just go.
Yeah.
I just have a go mentality. And I feel like that's with me. I just, this is what I got. All right, I don't think twice. I just go depending on what I have to do. I used to love dropping off kids in pajamas, but now I hate it because I just feel like I waste my time.
I was going to tease you about that because right before you got here, I saw that post pop up where you said something like, You come home from dropping them off in your pajamas, and you don't want to do that anymore.
I don't. I actually did 75 hard, and that's what got me into that because I used to love. I'm like, I love pajamas, but after doing 75 hard, it got my mind like into a routine and creating these habits,
Mm-hmm.
right? Creating the right habits to get you to where you want to go. And I realized I'm like, I don't like being in pajamas anymore. I want to get my day going. I used to love sleeping in until 10, 11 a.m. And now I'm like, I want to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, get
Right.
my day going. But one thing that I cannot go without is exercise. It just,
Okay.
my mind
So
just
that's
goes to
a
another
daily
place.
routine.
There you go.
Yeah, you and I both, I think, took our health a little more serious this year
Yes.
because I know when we were in the cabin, I had just started drinking again for the first time.
Oh my God, same. And now it's been,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
no, I need to
know.
get back to it.
I'm still down. I overall I went down 26 pounds, and then now I'm down still 12, and I feel good, but yeah. So I remember us talking about how we both kind of got in because we weren't really workout people
No,
that
and
much. I
it's
don't
not about the
think.
weight for me. I'm good. It's for the way I feel.
Yes,
The way I
mentally and
feel. And
physically.
why is it so hard to be healthy these days? Why is it so expensive to be healthy these days? Let me tell you, it is expensive.
Yeah.
All the vitamins, all the things. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, this is exhausting. But I've never felt better. I've never felt more aligned. And you know what's crazy? It's just being on this new, like, I guess, like after this, I realize that I am happier on my own, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's just you really truly embrace being alone, going on a run and doing all these things. That
Yeah,
and
it's a form of meditation too.
is that
Different
what
types
it
of
is?
exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
then
hate
of
running,
course
but yeah, all that's type of meditation that
yoga.
gets your
I
mind.
love yoga
Yeah.
now. I'm into yoga. I can't
So
I
you do
feel
have
weird
daily
now.
routines
There you
then.
go, I do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my I love listening to a good podcast.
Okay. And then and you like your little cafecita thing. What the hell is that
I
thing called?
cannot go a day
Yeah,
without
you
my
guys brought that
cafecita.
to I
Yeah.
love that thing, but yeah.
Cuban coffee to be
Yes.
exact.
Where do you see yourself business wise, like 5 years from now? What are you doing? Are you in something similar? Are there other passions that you're looking into? Have you thought of that?
I have. It's been these past 2 years have been one of the hardest years in business. Like I told you, I lost a big chunk of my team. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been really hard. And you know, it's so crazy. I know off topic here, but I started tying my worth to my net worth. And I started feeling like a fraud because, you know, oh, if I'm not making X amount of money, how can I mentor other people? Or I'm not good enough. And all of these thoughts came in. And then I thought, you know, I'm not good enough for this anymore. This is not for me. And then just recently I was like, no, like, but then it's so like you want to do everything and end up doing nothing at the same time.
Right.
Right. So do I eventually want to get into other things? Yes, but I have to become an expert again in
Back to the
my
roots.
line, back to
Yeah.
the roots of what got me started. If I did it once, I can do it
Right.
again, right? And if I can really, you know, get myself to a certain amount to help me invest into other things like another cabin, another property, venture off, right?
Bitcoin.
There you go. That's another one. High yield savings accounts and all these things, right? Um, again, yeah, my mind wanders all the time, but honestly, there is nothing like doing what I do. I
Right.
love helping other women. I love the community aspect. That's what gives me purpose. I'm not home Google Gaga all day long.
Yeah.
I can go and meet my girls for lunch and it's actually work. I'm creating content. I'm having fun. We're strategizing for the next meeting or how to talk to the next person who's currently behind the register struggling. I'm like, listen, like I can get you out of this.
Yeah.
You know, like let's talk, let's connect. I thrive off of that. So I'm gonna become an expert in this, and I just have this pit in my stomach. Again, it's that I've seen what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what is possible. I've lived through it. I know the possibilities, and it's there, and it's doable. One of the most famous people today, Ed Milet, did network marketing. You know, Andy Frisella, I think did. I'm not sure if he did. You know, Andy Frisella, I love. I'm
No.
obsessed with him. I have to show you him. But again, some of the top, you know, people, leaders in the world, John Maxwell
Yep.
did network marketing, right? So again, this is the door, I guess. This is the what am I trying to say? This is like, you know, like this is the path
Yeah.
that's going to lead you to your next journey,
Other
your
things.
next chapter. So do I see myself in this long run? Absolutely. And do I want to venture into other things? Absolutely.
I find that the last few years, I've spent more time learning about money and investments, and I literally ask every single person I meet with, what are they doing? I'm not looking for your net worth. I just want to know, what are you investing in? And I've found all kinds of ideas. I know you've mentioned that a while ago with some of the girls that you've worked with, that they're buying. Some of them are buying multiple properties with the money
Mm-hmm.
they were making and stuff. So it's an important thing to find out. There's nothing wrong with it. Just don't be tacky, but find out what everyone else is doing too to make money, to save money, to invest, because multiple streams of income is very, very nice.
It is so nice.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
But that gets your eye open when you start making money. Then you're like, oh, how can I make more? What are other ways in case this one doesn't work out?
Kind of like those people are like, oh, I have to pay to start a business. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Those are the small-minded people. I'm like, well,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I get that you think everything's a scam these days because it's very hard to get scammed. But I'm like, yeah. You got a job at McDonald's. You got to buy your shirt. You got to buy your pants. You got to buy your, your shoes that you need from McDonald's. You're still investing into that.
And your job's not guaranteed.
Exactly.
We're wrapping things up here. One of my last questions was going to be something most people don't know about you, but you did give me 2 secrets already. Is that enough?
That's more than enough.
How can people find you if someone wants to talk to you about you mentoring them, if someone wants to jump on board with your team, if someone has a question about even just parenting because you've got 3 kids and you're living the life? How's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Oh, thank you. It's Angela, my dear. My
Instagram?
Instagram is
That's
the best
it?
way. Angela, my dear.
Okay.
I hate email. It backs up.
I know
for
you younger
a
people
long time.
don't like emails. I know.
And I don't like talking on the phone. And I don't like, if you text me, I'll answer like this. My family already knows to text me. And if I ignore all their calls and they'll text me like, hey, what's going on?
That's so funny. Well, to each his own. All right. So you know how to find her. She's on Instagram. She's blowing up. She's got a very successful business. And again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming in here. It's always good to see you and for doing something like this. Looking forward to the episode coming out.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.